#1 staging camp in Holland streams a long line of Canadian Army vehicles destined for the use of UNRWA in the Czechoslovakian area. The vehicles are among the thousands remaining in Europe following the disbandment of the Canadian Army. To further the work of UNRWA in devastated zones, these vehicles are turned over to help transport food for the coming winter. From Holland, the trucks travel to Cologne and then Frankfurt. The vehicles are checked for minor repairs while drivers take time out to put on the feed bag. The convoy heads for Pilsen via Boer, where their new drivers selected from the Czech Army take over from the Canadians. A double check is given each truck as it is turned over. One check is done by the Canadians and then UNRWA officials take over the job. The procedure in Czechoslovakia is one that is being duplicated in most of the liberated areas in which UNRWA is working. Thus, the Canadian-made materials that wheeled Canada's sons to their part in victory are now blazing new trails in the rehabilitation of Europe's millions. The lovely town of Blankenburg in Belgium commemorates 1 year of liberation by playing host to their liberators, the 12th Manitoba Dragoons. The regiment returns for 3 days to celebrate with the citizens. The town square is dedicated to the unit, while tribute is paid to those who fell in the liberation. At the close of ceremonies, the 12th Manitobas parade through the town to receive further evidence of the citizens' appreciation. Medals are presented to the first 3 members of the unit who entered the town on their task of liberation 1 year previously. In their now peaceful role as guests of a grateful people, the Manitobas wheel their armored vehicles along the promenade to close another chapter in regimental history. Bremen, Germany. The famous 30th Battery Bombers softball team takes on an American group from the 29th Division in an exhibition game. The game is played under American rules, which allows an extra player in short center. The Bombers, boasting of an enviable record among Canadian teams, are up against an equally famous team. The Yanks hold a record of 69 innings without a run being scored against them. Play is strictly big league with all the players on the bit. The Yanks hold a slight edge due to their familiarity with American rules. The Canucks can't make headway against the superb play of the Yanks, and the game ends 2-0 in favor of the Americans. Groningen, Holland. The annual horse show is held. Canucks strut their stuff with local equestrians as connoisseurs of turf blue bloods, while the bangtails show off their muscle and spirit in rare form before the large crowds. Canadian Army participants give with a boots and saddle routine in true Canuck style, although their performance is no Calgary Stampede effort. A perfect day for good horses and a thriller from start to finish gives the boys another choice item for the old diary. Coulsdon, England. The South London Harriers hold their annual 30-mile road race. An entry of 40 Empire contestants makes up the field in the grueling contest. Run under all types of conditions, it demands tremendous stamina from the runners. The Canadian Army entry, Sergeant Gerard Cote of Montreal, triple Boston Marathon winner, and Tommy Richards of Wales pull away from the rest of the field and establish comfortable leads. The first across the line is Richards, last year winner, who breaks the record for the distance. Sergeant Cote, pulling up in second place, also breaking the previous record. The 30 miles is covered in 3 hours, 8 minutes, and 54 seconds. Stepping on Canadian soil nearly 1 year after his previous visit, General Charles de Gaulle, President of France, is welcomed by high officials. His first act is to salute the fallen at the National War Memorial. His visit to Canada is made to discuss with Prime Minister King and Canadian financial experts short-term credits that will allow France to obtain much-needed materials immediately. While in the capital, the General bestows decorations on Lieutenant General Folks, Captain Guy d'Antoine, Commander Pierre de Belay for service in the cause of France. The confidence expressed by General de Gaulle during his visit augurs well for future talks between France and Canada. First Div is going home. These veteran warriors who left the shores of Canada almost 6 years ago have come a long way on an arduous trail filled with hopes and disappointments, and glory and tears. Stepping ashore in the UK in December 1939, they present to the world the first tangible evidence of Canada's participation in the bitter struggle. The division's first action is slated for the Battle of France under the leadership of General Andy McNaughton. But after a few days ashore on that hopeless venture, they are pulled back to England. There they stand on guard, the only fully equipped division after Dunkirk, to ward off the expected invasion. In August 1941, they are sent on a raid to the Arctic island of Spitsbergen to destroy wireless installations and rescue the inhabitants. In a brief action, the first Div displays the caliber which later makes them famous. In spectacular fashion, the Red Patch Boys leave desolation in their wake. Then come the long months of training for the big job. The daily grind under constant threat of Nazi invasion. The nights of guard duty along lonely coastline. Tough assault courses, realistic landing rehearsals. All are endured for the day when they can take a real smack at Jerry. That day arrives in June '43, when they move out of England and sail eastward. At dawn, July 10th, the first Div swarms ashore at Sicily. The long, hard, bitter trail is started, the trail that leads it up Italy to the Senio River. From the time it hits the beaches, it proves itself a great fighting entity. Italian names that will forever be etched into Canadian history begin to pile up. They belong to Canadian history, for they are victories bought by Canadian fighting men, many of them with their lives. The Div is now part of Monty's 8th Army, and he gives them plenty of tough assignments. Ortona, key German pivot on the Adriatic, is taken in bloody battles reaching ferocious pitch. Major Paul Triquet, VC, pays his respects to the many who lie still beside Ortona. The battle line moves to Cassino. Pushing and battling every inch, they take the town. The Hitler line is breached. After a brief rest, identifying flashes come down for a secret move to the Adriatic. The objective becomes the Gothic line. Pushing on, the first Div engage in one of their biggest battles, the Battle of the Senio River. Northwest Europe is aflame, and in March '45, the Red Patch Boys load aboard transports. They head for Marseille and union with the other component of the 1st Canadian Army. Into action again in Holland. They take part in the liberation of Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and The Hague. Racing and chasing the enemy through Western Holland, they bring all the skill and courage they have shown in Italy. VE Day breaks, and they triumphantly watch as the German forces surrender. The home stretch is reached as they parade through Berlin. Then comes farewell to the chief, General Harry Quirard. The 1st Division, blazing a glorious trail for Canada, for victory, for peace, is going home.